would someone look at and be able to define what is AI and really what is just normal business or data modeling or things that you saw every day before? But what I did is I realized if I stick a big sticker on it saying powered by AI, people will like it more. I make more money. I can charge more. So as a consumer or just a general enthusiast in the technology space, how do you define the difference between AI and everything else?
Mhm. So the definition of AI, Kevin, at least the way I understand it, is for the machine to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. Um, but it's really not. It can be almost anything that includes reasoning, learning, problem solving, perception. Um, but it actually doesn't. It doesn't go out and do everything because there's only so many resources at the end of the day. So in day to day, everyone has a cell phone. Almost people have a cell phone, and if you look at the voice assistant like Siri or Alexa, these, and even if you watch something like Netflix, a lot of the which movie to watch, or the way they understand your voice, a lot of that is AI. In fact, today a lot of the toll, when you drive your car through a toll camera, the cameras are taking a photograph and then using AI to recognize your license plate. And they've simplified a task that would had so much error potentially. They're even able to look inside the car and see if there's two or three people in it, and if it is following the carpool norms. So there's AI is able to do a lot of these things. Biometric scanning, where fingerprint recognition, all that's been AI for a pretty long time. The newer things that we'll start seeing, one is obviously we all use tools like products like Spotify. So it starts learning your preference and slowly starts suggesting songs you might like. That's one common example. um, the chatbots are going to get very smart. They're going to be able to understand your queries, your potentially, um, depending on your geography, even the way names are pronounced can be different. The chatbots are starting to understand that, which used to be an issue historically. um, and the other thing is just robotics. The vacuum cleaners are using some amount of AI right now. The cars, a lot of new cars have AI. When they do object detection and they start beeping just before you hit something, all that is AI. A lot of other stuff, when you put a calculator and compute how much to pay at the store, technically that's also AI, but we don't need, the machine's not doing it by itself. So we've come to use that. When we use, say, Google Maps to find our way someplace, we're not exactly using an AI, but we are using technology to make decisions. Um, I think the other area where I think AI is going to become very effective, especially given the state of the world right now, is security systems, surveillance footage. It's being heavily used in drone wars. It's almost like Star Wars Part 5 is coming through, but coming through, and so what's not AI, right? Simple automation. Any set of like an assembly line robot that does the same thing on every piece it encounters. That's not AI. That's just a task automation. Or if you have like we talked about calculator. The other thing is there are systems called rule-based systems. For example, you have the thermostat at home, where you say if the temperature drops below a certain point, then I want to turn on the heat. So that's not AI. That's actually a rule-based system. And there's also like a little more complicated example is statistics and data analysis tools, which they learn from the data, but you can't technically call them AI. So if you want to look at, say, health data in a particular city and say, there's been an outbreak of say measles, that's not AI, it's more statistics. So AI implies autonomy or learning or intelligence. It mimics cognitive functions. But in passing, I'll tell you one thing I've realized, Kevin. There is a finite amount of resources to solve anything. And at the end of the day, the AI will solve the things that, quote unquote, make the most money. And that's 3 or 4% of the things that, you know, that we work with on a day-to-day basis. It's always been that. And um, so I think that will continue to happen. And the long tail of problems that every human being has is still going to be there. We're still, when a near or dear one has a disease like cancer, we still have to go and do all the groundwork. Even today, there's so much information available in Google and on Mayo and WebMD and places like that. But we just have to go through all of it. And even if the AI summarizes that and gives you a recommendation, you're still going to have to double click and make sure it's doing the right thing. So the long tail of each person's day-to-day problem is still going to be there. And there's always room for products and services to be built in that direction.